Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Friday Night SmackDown review. And SmackDown tonight, of course, was from the Amway Center in Orlando. And this was SmackDown's go-home show for Payback, which is this Sunday, which I don't know why, a week after SummerSlam, we are getting another pay-per-view. This week, WWE build for this pay-per-view, which they only had a week build. Just for, this week. Shitty build for Payback. Payback is a throwaway pay-per-view for WWE this year. They did not need to put Payback on their yearly pay-per-view schedule. So, and how many of you even remembered that we have another pay-per-view this Sunday? I know none of you probably even remembered that another pay-per-view was happening this Sunday. You're like, oh yeah, we got through SummerSlam. Oh, wait a minute. Don't we have Payback the following weekend? I did not know that. Yes, guys, we have another pay-per-view this Sunday. It's a throwaway show. That WWE did not need to put Payback on their pay-per-view lists of shows this year. But as for SmackDown tonight, the show was just a very show, in my opinion. That's what it was. So, I'm going to jump right into the review. And basically, SmackDown tonight, the whole show revolved around WWE producer Adam Pearce as he went around to get Roman and the Fiend Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman to sign the contract for their triple threat match for the Universal Championship, which is happening this Sunday at Payback. So that was basically what the show revolved around tonight. But SmackDown opened up with Adam Pearce, the WWE producer. He was backstage with security guards. He ended up telling these guards to be on extra alert, and that if they see anything happening, to say something. Pearce ended up pointing to the office door behind him because Vince McMahon was there. So Pearce ended up knocking on Vince's office door. He ended up walking in. Pearce ended up trying to get a fist bump for Vince, but Vince was not interested in a fist bump. Vince ended up telling Pearce that he seems a bit nervous. And Vince ended up telling, oh, you seem a bit nervous, but that is normal for people who come around me. So Vince ended up saying that he has a mission for Pearce tonight. So he ended up hyping up the triple threat match at Payback, which is a no-holds-barred triple threat match between Braun Strowman, the Fiend Bray Wyatt, and Roman Reigns with the Universal Championship on the line. Which I forgot to mention. I forgot to mention it was a no-holds-barred match stipulation with the triple threat. So Vince ends up handing over to Pearce the contract for the match. So Vince ended up telling Pearce that he needs Strowman, Roman, and Wyatt's signatures on the paper, on the contract, before the night was over. So Vince ended up telling Pearce to start with the Fiend, and that if he can't find him, to possibly try Bray Wyatt, which he ended up telling, Bray Wyatt's possibly in the Firefly Funhouse. So Vince ends up pulling one of his suits off the door. He handed it to Adam Pearce to get the job done. Pearce ended up asking Vince if he was being serious. And Vince ended up telling Pierce, oh, say hello to Huskus the Pig for him. So Pierce ended up leaving Vince's office to try to get the signatures from those three guys. And that was that. And like I said, this whole contract signing was revolved around the whole show tonight. And so then we went to the Thunderdome, and Jeff Hardy ended up making his way out. And we saw, the clips of when he won the Intercontinental Championship last week from AJ Styles. So Hardy ended up getting on the mic, and he ended up saying that it's good to be standing in the Thunderdome. Hardy went on to mention how, after what Styles did to his knee last week, he's lucky to be standing anywhere. He ended up saying that he's ready to defend tonight. He was ready to defend the Intercontinental Championship. So AJ Styles ended up coming out. He ended up interrupting Jeff Hardy. Styles came out dressed in street clothes. Styles ended up asking, oh, is this real? Styles ended up saying that Hardy is a liar. He's a cheater. He ended up walking to the ring, and he ended up saying that he's had knee injuries before, and he never went to a doctor to get an illegal object on his knee. So Styles ended up saying that Jeff Hardy had a plan all along, and he knew exactly what he was doing. He ended up saying that Jeff Hardy ended up knowing how to play the system. Styles ended up saying that the same doctor Jeff Hardy complained to now won't clear Styles to compete, and that it's all Jeff Hardy's fault. So Jeff Hardy ended up saying, well, that sucks to Styles. And that Jeff Hardy ended up saying that he was about to issue an open challenge to anyone in the back, except for Styles. So Styles ended up yelling at Jeff Hardy for taking advantage of the system. So Charles Robinson was in there. He was trying to calm things down between Styles and Hardy. Styles ended up yelling back that Jeff Hardy won't shut up. And then Hardy ends up dropping Styles, laying Styles out with a punch. And it went to commercial there. There you go. So Jeff Hardy ended up issuing an open challenge for the Intercontinental Championship. So as SmackDown came back from the commercial, we went right to Jeff Hardy versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Of course, open challenge, Intercontinental Championship was on the line. Nakamura ended up stepping up with the challenge to take on Jeff Hardy. And the match itself, it was a okay match. We had Styles on commentary through the match. Nakamura started off the match taking control. He was working on Jeff Hardy's arm. And Cesaro was not at ringside during this match. And it went back and forth between them. We had a point where Jeff Hardy ended up tossing Nakamura over the announce table into Styles. And Styles got upset because we saw, Nakamura being launched into him by Jeff Hardy. And at the end of the match, we had Jeff Hardy end up hitting the Twist of Fate to Nakamura. Hardy went to the top, delivered the Swanton Bomb to Nakamura, went for the pin. There you go. Jeff Hardy ended up winning the match, retaining the Intercontinental Championship. Post-match, we had Jeff Hardy walking up the ramp. Styles was yelling at Jeff Hardy from the ring, and he was threatening to take the Intercontinental Championship back. Jeff Hardy then turned around, raised the Intercontinental Championship. And then, lo and behold, we had the return of Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn ended up making his return. He was out for 5 months. And Sami ended up coming out. And he ended up holding up the Intercontinental Championship that he carried. So he starts dancing around Jeff Hardy, taunting Jeff Hardy, and he was on the mic. He ended up saying that he's the real Intercontinental Champion. So we saw Sami Zayn and Jeff Hardy end up both raising their titles in the air, and Sami ended up taking advantage of Jeff Hardy, and he ended up leveling Jeff Hardy with the haluva kick. Sami ended up yelling at Jeff Hardy, calling Jeff Hardy a fraud. Styles ended up walking up to the stage, and Jeff Hardy was limping to his feet. So then we see Styles end up telling Jeff Hardy that he will own him soon. And that was pretty much basically that. But happy to see Sami Zayn back. You know, he's been off TV for 5 months. Really glad to see him. Let's see what WWE does with Sami Zayn now that he's returned. Pretty cool to see Sami Zayn back. Overall, the match with Nakamura and Jeff Hardy was okay. Then we saw Kayla Braxton. She was backstage. Sami Zayn was walking. She ended up stopping him for an interview. Kayla Braxton ended up asking Sami Zayn where he's been. Sami ended up saying that he's all about right and wrongs. And what's wrong is Jeff Hardy walking around and he's claiming to be the Intercontinental Champion. And he ended up saying, oh, Styles did before. And Sami ended up bragging on winning the title in March and retaining it over Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. Kayla Braxton ended up asking Sami Zayn why he hasn't been here to defend the title in the last 5 months. He went on to say that he has many reasons, many valid reasons, and that he doesn't need to explain those reasons. So he ended up going on about him being from Montreal, being a man of the world, and being a true Intercontinental Champion. So he spoke in a little French. Sami Zayn spoke in a little French, and then he walked off, and that was that. Then we went to the Firefly Funhouse. Bray Wyatt was there. He ended up saying that he feels like something is missing. And what's missing, it's the Universal Championship. He ends up saying that the title is back. And none of those monsters with big nasty teeth can take it back. So Bray Wyatt then ended up getting serious. He ended up telling Roman Reigns that it's good to see him back. And he hears the doorbell ring. The doorbell rings, and it's Adam Pearce. And he's dressed like a postman. He's dressed like a mailman. And Bray Wyatt then ended up welcoming him, which he ended up calling him Postman Pearce. And Postman Pearce, or Adam Pearce, ended up having the contract in his hand. Pearce ended up asking Bray Wyatt to sign the contract for the no-holds-barred triple threat match this Sunday. So Bray Wyatt laughs. He ends up telling Pearce, why would he sign the contract? Why would he sign it? Pearce ended up saying that sometimes there feels like a connection between Bray Wyatt and him. And of course, we saw flashes of the Fiend. Bray Wyatt then agreed to sign the contract, and he ends up saying that he hopes Roman and Strowman know what they're getting into. So Bray Wyatt ended up signing the contract, and he ended up saying that if he knows him like he thinks he does. He just signed a couple of death warrants. So Pierce ended up leaving. Bray Wyatt ended up saying, remember to let him in. And anyways, goodbye to the viewers. And that's how the Firefly Funhouse ended. So that was that. And then we went to Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle. He ended up making his way out. And he ended up cutting a promo on Corbin. He ended up claiming that Corbin is afraid. So Matt Riddle then called Corbin out for a fight. And so SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back from the commercial, Matt Riddle was still in the ring. He was still calling out Corbin. Corbin ended up coming out. Corbin was talking shit to Matt Riddle. He ends up accepting the fight. And then we just see Chad Gable dropping Matt Riddle from behind. He sneak attacked Matt Riddle. And Corbin ended up saying that he accepts on behalf of Chad Gable. So then we got Matt Riddle versus Chad Gable. This was a squash match. Matt Riddle ended up winning, ended up hitting the Bro Derek on Chad Gable, and that was that. Matt Riddle ended up winning in a squash match. Post-match, we had Corbin end up coming into the ring, and him and Matt Riddle were tangled for a bit. Corbin ended up retreating out of the ring after ducking a kick from Matt Riddle, and that was that. And then we went to Michael Cole, end up showing a video of The Miz and Big E, where they had a heated exchange during the return of Talkin' Smack on the WWE Network, which I did not watch. So we saw that, and then we saw a video that was a WWE Network exclusive that they rolled. And Big E ended up saying that he wasn't going to waste his time being on Miz TV, arguing with The Miz and John Morrison. So then we saw Sheamus end up joining The Miz and Morrison to stand with them, and Heavy Machinery joined Big E. So that means we had a 6-man tag later on in the night. So that was that. And so then we saw Adam Pearce. He knocked on Roman's door. No one answered the door, not Roman or anybody, if anybody was in the office with Roman. So we saw Kayla Braxton stopping Corbin. She was asking if he will accept Matt Riddle's challenge. Corbin ended up telling Kayla Braxton about how he's going to destroy Matt Riddle at Payback this Sunday, and he's going to prove that Matt Riddle doesn't belong in this kingdom. So that was basically that. So yeah, we're going to see Corbin versus Matt Riddle this Sunday. Now we had Sasha and Bayley come out. Bayley ended up taking the mic. She was saying about how this has been a hard week for the both of them. She ended up saying that they both had to defend their titles, their Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships at SummerSlam last week, and that they will have to defend their tag team titles against Shayna Basler and Nia Jax this Sunday. And she ended up saying, lucky for them, they are the best tag team which, I have to agree on. They're Sasha and Bayley are the best thing going on WWE television. They're entertaining. But I may not be the biggest Sasha fan, but with Bayley and her there, they are the most entertaining aspects on WWE television so far. And then Bayley ended up saying that, she knows Sasha is devastated about losing the Raw Women's Championship. And Bayley ended up blaming herself for why Sasha lost the Raw Women's Championship at SummerSlam. So she ended up saying that she should have never let Asuka challenge Sasha. And that she saw Sasha watching her with both of her titles and knew she wanted the same. So Bayley ended up saying, but all that is in the past, and that they will move forward with the win this Sunday. Bayley went on about how they're stronger together, how her and Sasha are stronger together, and that the titles represent more than their friendship. Bayley ended up saying that on Sunday, they will not lose. They cannot lose. Sasha ended up agreeing with Bayley. So Sasha ended up saying that she doesn't want Bayley to worry. And she ended up saying that as long as Bayley has her back, they can get through anything together. So Sasha ended up saying that she may not be two belt Banks anymore, but she knows who she is and what she stands for, and that they are still best friends. So then we had Shayna Basler and Nia Jax appear on the screen. And both Basler and Jax end up going on about how they both dislike each other. Basler ended up saying that, Nia is hard, that Nia sucks, that she's horrible. And they went on to say that about how they hate Sasha and Bayley more. And that they will team with just about anyone to take their titles. So they have Bayley, not Bayley, Shayna and Nia end up talking trash, and Sasha ends up saying about how she will leave Payback with her title, and that there's not a damn thing that Shayna or Nia can do about it. So that was basically that. But there you go. Women's Tag Team Championships on the line. Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax versus Sasha and Bayley this Sunday. And the match itself might be, okay, or meh, in my opinion. But Sasha and Bayley, if I were to give my prediction, they are retaining the titles. So then we had Adam Pearce backstage. He was looking for Braun Strowman, and Drugulak was looking for Strowman, and he was looking for Strowman because he wanted Payback. So Gulak ended up walking over to a table. Strowman's back was turned. Strowman was at the table. It looked like a catering table. Gulak had a chair in hand, and he hits Strowman with the chair. And Strowman didn't get fazed by the chair. And Gulak ends up, handing the chair over to Adam Pearce, thinking, Strowman was thinking that Pearce might have hit him with the chair. So Strowman ends up turning around. He saw Pearce standing there with the Payback contract, and Strowman ended up saying to Pearce that the only way he signed the contract is if Pearce gets Gulak in the ring with Strowman. And then Pearce ended up saying to Strowman, that sounds like a plan. So that was that. So we had Braun Strowman and Drugulak, which I'll get to. Then we went to the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Cesaro and Nakamura. Cesaro ended up saying that he has a match with Kalisto and that he needs to know that they're a team. Sami Zayn ended up walking in and he's happy about the trio reuniting because, of course, Sami Zayn was managing, of course, Cesaro and Nakamura. So Cesaro and Nakamura aren't so sure about the trio getting back together with them and Sami Zayn. Nakamura ended up saying that Sami Zayn has been gone for months and that he didn't even give him or Cesaro a phone call. So Sami then admits that he should have been more communicative and he ends up apologizing. Cesaro ended up saying that some things around here actually changed for the better while Sami Zayn was gone. He ended up saying that that was his plan, for them to come together, and that the proof is in their title win. So Sami ended up placing the Intercontinental Championship next to the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, and he ends up saying that he's going to hang out in this championship lounge. And Cesaro ended up saying that they were having a conversation as a tag team. And he ended up telling Sami Zayn that they would like to finish that conversation. So Sami ended up asking if they want him to go. And Cesaro was like, yeah, please go. And so that was that. So looks like the trio of Nakamura, Cesaro, and Sami Zayn, they are not going to be a trio again. Drugulak versus Braun Strowman, squash match. Braun Strowman manhandled Drugulak here. So Braun Strowman ended up winning, running power slam. Moving on. And after the match, Adam Pearce ended up stopping Strowman on the stage. Strowman then signed the contract. Strowman then shoved the contract back at Pearce and walked off. There you go. We saw a Lucha House Party backstage. Kalisto ended up saying that he learned from Lince Dorado's mistakes with Cesaro last week. He ended up asking Lince Dorado to stay backstage and watch how it's done. So because of that, Lince Dorado wasn't happy, and neither was Gran Metalik. So then we saw Cesaro and Nakamura attack Dorado and Metalik from behind, and then SmackDown went to commercial. So then we had Kalisto versus Cesaro, which the match itself, it was, an okay match. We had Cesaro start off the match dominating on Kalisto. Kalisto ended up sending Cesaro to the floor with the head scissors. And at the end of the match, we saw Cesaro win the match because we had Nakamura again on the ring apron. Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik run out. Kalisto got distracted by Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik being up on Nakamura on the floor, and that allows Cesaro to roll Kalisto up for the win. There you go. Cesaro ended up winning the match. And then post-match, the Lucha House Party were arguing in the ring, and we are going to be seeing the breakup of the Lucha House Party. So that is going to be happening very soon. So then we saw Vince McMahon backstage. Adam Pearce ended up walking in with the contract. Pearce ended up saying to Vince that he has the signatures from The Fiend and Braun Strowman. He ended up telling Vince that he keeps knocking on Roman's door, and he has no luck. And Vince ended up telling Pierce to go knock on Roman's door again. And Vince ended up talking more about Pierce knocking on Roman's door to get an answer from Roman, and he ended up telling him to go find out. Go get Roman to sign this contract. So then we had Tamina and Nikki Cross backstage. Nikki Cross had a coffee mug in her hand. Tamina ended up asking Nikki Cross how Alexa Bliss is doing. And then we see Alexa Bliss end up showing up. And, she hugs both Tamina and Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross was happy to see Alexa Bliss back. And Nikki Cross ended up saying to Alexa that, she has the coffee mug that Alexa Bliss ended up giving her. So Nikki Cross ended up pointing out how she hasn't seen Alexa Bliss wear her hair in pigtails in a while. And, it was cool seeing Alexa Bliss wear the pigtails again. The last time, if I remember, when she did the pigtails was when she did that whole attire where she dressed up as Harley Quinn, like the Harley Quinn look. So Nikki Cross ended up seeing how some of Alexa Bliss's hair was twirled up. She ended up saying, "Oh, that's not a good idea." So Alexa ended up saying that she was thinking of doing half and half. So Nikki Cross ended up saying that it will look good anyway. And she doesn't think it's a good idea because it reminds her of The Fiend. So Alexa Bliss ended up staring off, and when she heard The Fiend's name, and she ends up telling Nikki Cross to be serious. So Alexa Bliss got all mad about that, and she ended up going on about thinking Nikki Cross was a good friend. So she snatches the mug from Nikki Cross, ends up smashing the cup. The cup glass shattered everywhere. And she ended up saying that, she ends up saying so much for that. And then Alexa Bliss ended up walking off. So, The Fiend with that glove, where it says, heal and hurt, it's playing off on Alexa Bliss. But who knows now what this is going to mean? I know that I read an article stating that, that they're not going to be having Alexa Bliss in the storyline with The Fiend from what I heard. Like WWE is like trying to remove Alexa Bliss from that storyline with The Fiend. That's what I heard. That's what I read in the article. But don't know if that is, officially true. So then after that, we had John Morrison bragging to The Miz about how hard he can kick. Sheamus then ended up walking up to the both of them. They ended up talking strategy for the 6-man tag, which of course was the main event. He ended up saying that their plan is to not let the others in the ring. And Sheamus ended up not liking it, and he tells The Miz and Morrison to just follow his lead. And pretty much that was basically that. Then we had the main event, of course, the 6-man tag, Heavy Machinery and Big E versus The Miz, John Morrison, and Sheamus. The match itself, it was, a okay match, okay 6-man tag. But, Heavy Machinery, very entertaining. We love Otis, we love Tucker. And I can imagine WWE coming up if they keep this tag team with Heavy Machinery and Big E. Imagine them calling the tag team Heavy E Machinery. could imagine that. But we had Adam Pearce, before the match got underway, Adam Pearce ended up finally finding Roman in the back. Roman ended up grabbing the contract for, the match. And he ended up saying that he needs to read it first. And then Pearce then ended up agreeing, and then the match got underway between Heavy Machinery, Big E, and Miz, Morrison, and Sheamus. So John Morrison ended up starting it off the match with Otis. Otis ended up trying to launch Morrison, but Morrison ended up landing on his feet. We had Otis do a splash in the corner. And later on, we had Otis do the Caterpillar, and Miz ended up moving out of the way, and he got Morrison with the Caterpillar, with the elbow drop. So we had the Miz end up getting tagged in. Miz ended up hitting a clothesline. Morrison then delivered a super kick to Tucker. And we had the Miz end up getting up, and Big E ended up dropping the Miz with the Miz ended up dropping Otis with the skull crushing finale. Big E ended up coming back into the match and dropped the big ending on the Miz for the win. And there you go. Big E and Heavy Machinery end up winning the match. Overall, it was an okay 6-man tag. Then we saw Adam Pearce backstage with Roman Reigns. Reigns ended up telling Pearce that he has not signed the contract, and he wants some changes to the contract. Roman ended up saying that he guarantees to be in the match on Sunday, and he is going to break everyone and then leave. Roman ended up saying that he also guarantees to win back the Universal Championship, which he never lost in the first place. Roman ended up saying that is not just a prediction. That is a spoiler. So then we see the camera shows Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was sitting down next to Roman. And Paul Heyman then leaned over Roman Reigns, and he ended up saying, "Believe that." So it looks like Roman has hired Paul Heyman here. Roman Reigns is officially now a Paul Heyman guy, which I did not expect this. And cool to see Paul Heyman there. So what does this make? Does this make Roman a heel now? Now that he's with Paul Heyman, hopefully that's the case. But that was how SmackDown ended. SmackDown ended, of course, with Roman and Paul Heyman there. And that was that. Overall, the show was just very meh, in my opinion. But that's it for the review of tonight's SmackDown. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And I did check out Dynamite from last night, and I didn't do a review because I was working last night. I was going to do a review earlier today, but was busy. So who knows if I'll do a Dynamite review for last night's show. But I know I'm possibly not going to review Payback because I'll be working Sunday night. So I don't even care about Payback. I don't even. So that's that. And right when I'm finishing the review here, I'm online here, and very sad news that broke out. Apparently, we lost Chadwick Boseman, of course, from Black Panther. He played Black Panther, and he died from colon cancer. Says right here, the actor died in his home surrounded by his wife and family. And that's just very sad. I didn't even know that he had colon cancer. But he died at 43. Really a shame. But, you know, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Thoughts go out to his family. Just very sad. This news came out of nowhere. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you all for watching. And till next video, I'll see you all later.